What up, guys?
What up?
I'm back.
What's up?
I'm back. I'm sorry for my week absence for the last week. Hey, by the way, so just real quick, I want to say this before we got really started. I've been perseverating about this all weekend long. We started this show because we couldn't hang out together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were protesting this weekend, just remember we started this show because we could not hang out anymore together.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about that whole nonsense that went on this weekend.
Andy.
But anyway, guys, everybody, welcome back to the show. We're all here. I think we're going to talk about some really cool shit tonight. I hope. We probably get sidetracked about some random nonsense, but I do want to do a pulse check on Ed the Zebra.
Yes.
Dyslexia I kicked in just then.
And
dude,
I'm
gonna be honest with you. I wanted some of my favorite memes are not just of him, but like when they were showing like the memes of the world, and it had like areas where zebras run free, and it was like all this red spot in Africa, and then you had this one little dot
in Tennessee. Yeah, it's so great.
And I was like, dude, this is so hilarious. It's the greatest feel good story of all of the entire world, in my opinion. And then I am seriously contemplating getting that tattoo of him in the sling, because he looks like he's like, fuck it, we're doing this, man. We're living the dream. I got to fly. I got to do
the one. He's like, I'll fucking do it again.
Yeah. Well, it was totally worth it, right? You know, but I'm glad he survived. I really wish they wouldn't have caught him, and he could have just.
I know.
It would have been forever.
Would have happened eventually.
Gone forever.
Somebody would have shot him, is what would happen. And
probably
the zebras are not. Hey, Rob, I didn't even see him pop up, but
there he is.
There he is. The man.
Somebody might have shot him, or somebody would have probably spray painted "fuck ice" on him or something like that instead. So
yeah, because he is an immigrant.
That's true.
Now, if that would have been a party this weekend or a protest for Ed the Zebra, I would have. Someone asked me that when I was in California. They were like, "Well, one of my best friends." Those who follow me on Facebook had seen that I had posted a picture of me and this guy named Lance. He was my first ever lead singer in a band back when we were in high school. All right. So that's how far, we hadn't seen each other in 30 something years. And he was like, he lives in California. He used to live in San Francisco. He has a studio in LA. He brought the studio from San Francisco. He did say it got a little bit too crazy in San Francisco. That's the reason why he moved to LA. And he's like, I may move to Tennessee next. It's getting a little ridiculous. Now, he is not. He's more on the same side as Dave. But he's going, this has gotten ridiculous, right? But he asked me, he goes, so is there a protest you would ever be a part of? And I clearly said no. I said, I don't even care if it's something that's part of what I believe in. I don't have time to listen to people's causes. I think it's all stupid. I'm not going to listen to people yell. But Ed the Zebra, I think I would have done that. I think I would protest for Ed the Zebra because he's super cool.
Setting my zebra free.
Yeah.
And here comes Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Happy Monday. Hey, everyone.
Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
So, but anyway.
Good to see you, Daniel.
What's everybody's drinking? I can tell you what I'm drinking. I'm just having some Colonel Taylor small batch tonight. Just some good old
nice.
Colonel Taylor. I'm not going to go into the notes on it. By this point, all of us have had the notes on it, right?
Yeah, I think if it's nothing that's, we've all had it before, you know what I mean? Like, and there's no reason to rehash.
Right.
My Evan Williams. Like,
yeah. I just know I like it, and I'm stoked with it. So that's kind of the way I look at it. And it's an easy drinker. It's one that makes me feel good when I need a little bit of calming down. I did not have a gummy. I'm actually on day.
Oh shit.
I'm actually on like a week without it. No, 2 weeks. I'm on my second week without it. Well, the reason was I didn't know. The first time in a long time I went through the TSA without getting fully molested.
Were you disappointed?
I was because I was prepared.
I kind of figured as much.
I was totally prepared. I went there and they were like, "Can you do?" And I'm like, "Got it." And then I come out and I'm like, "It just goes off right here." And they're like, "We don't have time for your jokes." I'm like, "I don't know what kind of joke that is." I figured for sure I was getting ready to.
You always get into some kind of shit.
Man.
But that was the extent of it. So I didn't get fully accosted. I got to go and put my shoes back on and all that stuff.
That's good.
And I didn't have a police escort for breaking the line or all that nonsense because there was no one else there. And I went under one of those little ropes, you know.
Yeah,
Nashville Metropolitan Police Department, airport police on their fucking segways and their guns, and they're all shooting at me. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? Fucking mall cops. But they have a legit, I don't want to knock them, but they're on the segways. It's hard for me not to throw anything in front of it just to see them fall. Just saying. Anyway, what about everybody else? What's everybody else drinking?
Oh, I'm sipping on some Four Roses tonight, keeping it simple.
There you go.
Nice.
And in response to Jody going 2 weeks without any gummies, I actually did one the other day, and oh my god!
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I lied. I did have a gummy the other day. I did. So I caught myself in a lie, and I was wrong. I want to make sure we all know I was wrong on that, but I corrected myself. Go ahead.
I'll tell you a quick story. So my daughter and her boyfriend were here for like a good week and a half. So, you know, one of the things I always wanted to do with my daughter was get tattooed together. So we did that a couple years back. And what she wanted to do was to partake in some desserts, I'll say, together. So she and I, boy, oh boy, that shit is not for the weak.
Depending on what you get, you can
get a full-on edible. Because I have found out so much about them from actually I was talking to Lance about it in California, and he was telling me that you know, the edibles are not really like controlled by anybody.
No, they're not.
So you may have a corner that has like all of the juice in it, and then the rest of the thing has nothing. You're like, I'm gonna be safe. I'm just gonna cut off this little corner and have that next thing.
You think that's what happened to us at the beach?
No, I think we are just stupid, and we ordered the wrong one that time.
I know we ordered the wrong one, but like we had like half of a half that we split. And I swear to you, and I've said this before, I was watching the ocean vibrate. Like
I told you, and I was not lying. When I gave you my drink and said,
I was like, oh,
I'm like, I cannot drink this. You're gonna have to finish it off. And you're like, I got you. And I'm like, I'm gonna go lay down for a little bit. I laid in bed, never closed my eyes, and I sat there and I could see all the world's problems and I could solve them all if I could push pause long enough to write them down. It was like they were going so fast. It was like remember that show Quantum Leap? And it was like going through everything. That's how I felt, but I could see everything. And I was like, somebody push pause. Just anybody push pause. Push pause. And then you walked in and you were like, you okay? And I'm like, dude, I'm just waiting for somebody to push pause. Just push pause, for God's sake.
So with me, I was stuck on the couch. When I say stuck, I was stuck.
That's hilarious.
Like I couldn't do shit.
And Billy, that's not a bad thing for you, man.
It's not.
A little hard.
He needs to be stuck on the couch for a while.
I needed it. So for me, it was a body high and a little bit in the head. But talking about stuff vibrating and moving, my ceiling in my living room is textured. And I swear to God, it was moving like the ocean. I was like, oh, shit.
You got that extra special.
So that little corner that you're talking about, I think I end up getting the corner.
You got the strong corner.
It's ridiculous, man. I mean, and when you said you had a body high, dude, that's a legit thing. I was sitting there. First person I called up was my mom, because that's what you do when you get high. I call her up and I'm like, I don't know how people work like this. Like, how does people smoke pot every day?
There's no way.
And they're able to function. I'm like, I can't even move my legs. I'm worried about going to take a pee here in a little bit. And when I do, I'm going to sit down like a little beta boy. That way I don't piss all over everything. All right. And hopefully I can hold it down. You know, I don't know what's going to happen.
I was trying to figure out how I was going to get to the stairs and then how I'm going to get upstairs. I'm seriously making plans trying to figure this shit out.
I did. Mine that happened like that was on the kids' Friendsgiving. And I was sitting there, I was like, surely this is not going to happen. And I remember I was teaching class. I took it right before class. And, it takes like 45 minutes to kick in. And I was teaching class. And then I was like, oh, my God, we're gonna have to end the class early. Like I don't. Hopefully, I didn't say it out loud, but
well,
I was thinking
you had that class that evening. That,
I did. That was a different
watch
class.
videos and stuff, but still,
yeah, I made them watch videos. I'm like, I got some videos for you guys. Let's do this.
Like Scooby snacks.
Yeah, I took some Scooby snacks like freaking 6 hours ago, and I'm still feeling the residual effects of it.
That's the thing. Kids love Scooby-Doo. They don't realize that Scooby-Doo and Shaggy are sitting there stoned off their ass the whole damn cartoon long. That's what they are, man.
So needless to say, I won't be doing that anytime soon. Not if I got something to do.
Not if you got stuff you got to do. Huh?
No, you got to clear the calendar and just sit back and relax.
Yeah.
They're
all
enjoyable.
right. So what are you drinking, Chuck? And welcome back, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
It's been a while.
I almost bought some assless chaps this weekend. Not for the Pride Parade, but I was thinking, at some point I might have to buy some because he's going to come back to the show and I told him I'd wear them,
Yeah. And I'm actually disappointed myself for,
Well, I can just show you my ass if that's what you want. I can just do that.
Nah, it just wouldn't be the same.
He's currently wearing ass chaps.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But you're also known as pants.
Yeah. So
I won't show you the twig and berries. I'll just show you the ass.
No, I'm not interested in any twigs. Sorry. I've seen enough of Grimace past few weeks over in Costa Rica. Tonight I'm drinking Russell's 15.
Nice.
That's a good one.
I figured I'd break this one out. It's been a little while. So this stuff is it's great. I mean,
yeah, it is.
I'm glad I was able to get some, and it's really good stuff. They're really doing a lot of great work over there. And there's a lot of new stuff coming out too from them as well this year, and I'm looking forward to it. Even though it's going to be pricey, I know the 13 is going to be out very soon. 13 year, they're bringing that back out for the summer and the fall, and then the Masters Keep that they're the new Masters Keep. This is going to be the last one of the series.
Really, because that's really good. Masters Keep is. I bought a bottle last year.
The price is going to go through the roof, though.
Yeah.
So what do you think the price point is going to be on the 12-year Eagle Rare?
$50. You
think so?
Unless you're one of the hotels, and then you're going to pull everybody's pants down, and it'll be $150.
Yeah, like Chuck was saying, the first ones that dropped at the distillery, they tried to make their quick buck on the secondary, but they're going to get swamped on that.
Yeah. So they have them at the distillery already?
Yeah, they were there yesterday. They had people coming in for up at like 4:00. People were still traveling from other states trying to get there.
That's wild.
So they could, get theirs. But it was at $600 yesterday, first thing, and
secondary was $600.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Now it went down in like 2 hours back to $300, and now it's at like $250.
So this is like the very first jackass in line. It's like, I'm going to get my bottle in immediately.
Well, if you're at the distillery, they let you buy as much as you want typically.
No, just one.
For Eagle Red,
it was just
12?
Yeah.
It was one per.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
From what I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Did they change the bottle at all, or is it just
that was
well, it says 12-year on it, and then it's got a like a orangey gold foil on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Cool. What about you, Rob? Welcome back, man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Welcome back. Glad to see you, brother.
I am drinking a little Elijah Craig toasted barrel tonight.
Oh, that's always a good one.
Nice.
Yes, it is.
Sticking
I'm
with
just
some
glad
basics.
that is readily available now.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I actually convinced my local dive bar. They've been trying to step up their bourbon program, and
you're the guy to talk to. There you go.
And the bartender texted me last week. She goes, "Hey, sent me a picture of a toasted barrel because I've been trying to get one. I'll drink it. I may be the only one who drinks it, but I'll drink it.
You'll drink it.
And
it won't be money wasted.
They got it in, and the owner didn't increase the price from a regular Elijah Craig. So,
whoops.
Nice.
So hopefully they're not watching.
I mean, okay. I know what you paid for the bottle in the state. I would have been I'd have been okay if you jacked it up a couple of bucks, bud. I don't want you losing money.
You're not going to volunteer that information either.
So yeah, just keeping it simple.
Honestly, though, there are some places like, for example, Vintage out in in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Dude, they sell everything at MSRP. Like
Vintage,
they don't.
you said it was?
Yeah, vintage. It's off of Lebanon Road in Mount Juliet.
Okay.
They do not jack up anything.
I've been looking at houses out there, but
they don't jack up any prices. They're that I'm aware of. Like everything. I mean, I was just there, and they. I mean, I didn't pick up anything the last time I was there, which I should have, because they had both the white and black Origins bottles, and I was like, gosh, I got that. Because I do love those. Those are some of my favorites. It's just that I'm kind of looking at how much money I've spent in bourbon. I'm like,
don't look anymore.
I know, but
don't you have a whole job to cover your bourbon expenses?
I do, but we're off. We don't start back.
I know you're on. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we're on.
So we're a little thin right now. A little thin on the old whiskey budget. Yeah.
So it's coming out of my money now. My 10-year position, not my F around and find out position.
Yeah, that's what I tell my financial guys. You got to keep me solvent, so I have plenty in my bourbon account, man.
That's right.
Well, I'm trying to figure out a way right now to count. If I were to pull out any of my financial, any of my earnings and stuff and not get hit with capital gains by saying I'm reinvesting it in something that's a losing market, bourbon, let me take that be my tax hit. Well, so far, the IRS does not agree with me.
No, they don't see it that way.
But I have wrote a personal letter to Trump and asked him if he would look into that. I doubt he will. I don't even know if he can read, but
does he partake in the bourbon? Maybe.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't drink.
He doesn't drink.
Jody, the best way to reach him is maybe on a new Trump phone. That might be the best way to get in contact with him.
I didn't know he had a Trump phone.
But you have to wear the Trump sneakers when you call the Trump phone, or it won't work.
I'll be honest with you. If I had some of those Trump sneakers, I'd wear those on every show with my assless chaps.
So he now has a cell phone service that's $47 a month.
I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. He is the best brander on earth. There's just no doubt about it. I mean, all the time, I love bringing up it specifically with my graduate students, but I love bringing that with my undergraduate students, definitely entrepreneurs to it. And I'm like, so how many businesses does you guys think Trump has? And they're like, well, I don't know, but he's had 5 bankruptcies. I'm like, yeah, he has. How many bankruptcies have you had? And they're like, what? How is that relevant? I'm like, well, he has 535 businesses, and he only had 6 bankruptcies out of those 536.
Yeah, one of them's bound to fail.
Yeah, I mean, that is freaking amazing odds. All right,
just one thing about it is that shows he's willing to take a risk on something he believed in, and that's what he did. And those didn't pan out.
The owner of Morgan and Morgan, I seen an interview that he allowed this podcaster to do the other day that was fantastic, and I didn't expect him to allow him to do it. He's a billionaire, and he owns a place down in Miami. And this podcaster literally walked onto, I think he was at Mar-a-Lago playing golf, but now he is a Democrat contributor. I mean, he's always about the Democrat Party, but he's the owner of it. Anyway, he was talking about, this, that, and whatever, but he was talking about risk, and it's all the things that I say all the time. And I'm sitting here like, I do some risk things when it comes to investments, big time risk stuff, but I haven't done what I really want to do, and that is own my own business. I haven't done that yet. I guess I own my own financial, investment firm, but I don't, and I do good on that, but I don't have any customers. Yeah, I'm the sole revenue source.
Are you gonna end up buying that speakeasy?
Are you talking about AB?
Yeah,
it's already been bought.
I'm sorry, you're a business owner.
No, I own the building.
Oh, you own the building. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't.
So he pays your rent.
Yeah. So Jody, I'll help you out with owning the business. Just squeeze your nuts real hard every day for 12 hours straight.
Sorry, I was getting so as soon as I said something about assless chaps, of course I get text messages about it, and Michelle was the first one to say, "When do I get to see this?"
That's fucking hilarious.
I'm like, okay, I see what we're doing here.
Gina, what are you drinking?
I hope she buys you assless chaps for real.
Nobody has to buy them for me. I do have a pair. They're in the closet
all
right here.
All chaps are assless. It's all beautiful.
Yeah, but I think we all get the visual of those
connotations.
Yep.
Yeah. Gino is drinking
Howard Stern dropping down at the MTV Awards.
Kentucky Spirit, single barrel.
That's a good one.
I enjoy it when I can find it. When I see it, I pick it up. It's one of those I do not pass by.
It's going away though.
Wild turkey. It is. Yeah, I know it's going away. That's another reason why whenever I see it, I pick it up.
Rare breed period's going away?
No, the not cream
barrel.
But that's is it single barrel? Or is it the
this is the Kentucky. This is the Kentucky Spirit.
Yeah, that
barrel.
Spirit of Kentucky. Okay. That one's going away. I know that.
Yeah.
But what about the cream of Kentucky? Because I think they're keeping that one.
Different.
Right?
That's different.
Yeah, it is different.
I've heard good things about that.
It is different.
I had a chance to buy that the other day. They had that at Vintage, but I did not buy it.
Dude. Grab it. That is a good pour.
How much is it, cream of Kentucky?
I don't know. I will ask right now.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Talk amongst yourself.
I did get it
for sure
from Chuck's advice because I asked him which one to get. I messaged him when I was there at the store and he said, "Which one?" Chuck said, "Get the cast strength." And I said, "Yes, sir." And it was delicious.
Nice. What cigar you
do? What are you about to say?
Gino is having a Rocky Patel 1990 vintage.
Nice. Okay.
You want to tell us where you're at up there in
I am in Canaan Valley at Timberline Resort, vacationing this week with the grandsons. I'm fortunately outside. The Horde is inside with all their lack of volume control and all that stuff.
The Horde
did the normal good stuff with them. We did scenic railroad ride, coal-fired, steam-driven locomotives. They were geared locomotives that they were back in the days when they were lumber milling on the side of mountains, and these things are like awesome. Did that.
Did all
the happy stuff. Yesterday we were in the caverns. That's about the weeping limestone. That was pretty cool. But my grandsons are 7.
That takes us real quick. That will take us into our topic here in a little bit.
But they were 7, 6, and 4. And so, yeah, they are balancing off the walls, 10 out of 12 hours.
Any flooding issues in the Canaan Valley?
Yeah, north central West Virginia is.
I saw
Fairmont got hammered. There's some buildings
Wheeling got hammered.
There's some buildings that I've been personally inebriated in many times that no longer exist. And it's a shame. Well, but it tore up Fairmont pretty good. That's where I went to college at.
I thought you went to I thought you went to West Virginia.
No, sir. Fairmont State. At the time, it's Fairmont State College. Now it's Fairmont State University. But yeah, I am connected with WVU. That's where I finished all my stuff at. But yeah, Fairmont State. That's where I spent, and I lost a lot of brain cells in Fairmont State. But it is what it is.
Billy, how did your first weekend in the container go?
Okay, so let me tell you guys about this. So, what I called a soft opening was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, 11 o'clock, I start serving. 10:15, they were already lining up. 1:30, I was sold out. Damn. Friday was even worse. I opened at 11. They were there by 10:30. I don't think I made it to 1 o'clock and was sold out. Each day I went through about 14 briskets and about 40, 50 racks of ribs. I had no sides left. Saturday was a blur. Opened at 11. I think I might have made it to 12:30. There was cars lined up
that is awesome.
on the road. But it's one of those things where they say, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Mm-hmm. So, mind you, just down the street, we have the market, and then we have the brick and mortar in Hialeah. So, I'm literally by myself with my boy Josh, who it sits on his property. Josh is a farm boy. So you guys noticed the other day I posted a video with the cows. That's all his property and stuff like that. We got sheep, we got goats, we got everything on this goddamn farm. So I said, Josh, just do me a favor. Just take the card payments and I'll do everything else. And he's a country boy, so I had to show him how to take card payments on the touch to pay. And Sunday, I thought I was going to have a little bit less action. But as soon as church let out, which is literally like 3 blocks away, it was over with.
They came running.
I was happy to see Monday morning. And right now I have about 300 sausages sitting about 10 feet away from me that I got to cook off tomorrow, trying to get ready for next Thursday. So I got my ass handed to me.
So real quick, I know Jeff is here, and Jeff looks like he's in a different location. Are you still in the Bahamas?
No,
he's home.
I'm not home either. I'm in Brownsville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
I could tell
I
you.
thought you were out on your back porch. Yeah.
No. I knew he went home.
Of course, I was drinking the last time I was there.
That's why I'm drinking this today.
Little PBR. There you go. Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with PBR.
No.
Yeah. Out West Tennessee doing a project.
Is it electrical project? Low voltage. I'm sorry.
Low voltage. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. So we've talked about all the things that are here. I want to talk about. So we had an interesting conversation in the VIP chat. If you're not a member of the VIP chat, you should reach out to any of these guys and be part of the VIP chat, so you can have insight to not just dumb fuckery, but like some really cool stuff that you might learn from. But I do want to caution you, a lot of dumb fuckery. And so I wouldn't turn on notifications because it's all day long, literally all day long. Right. But and also if you want to hit the like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, ding, ding, ding. Or like I've said in the past, drag your balls across a carpeted floor. If that's what you want to do. Do all those things. I think that's great. Stand up and give me a bam. Yeah. But anyway.
Interesting juxtaposition. Go ahead.
Moving past that. So
He's
today.
done all that without a gummy.
All of that without a gummy.
That's always hard to tell with you. It really is.
Are you trying to say I act like I'm fucked up all the time?
No. The content of the things that you get into is just like what?
Yeah.
What?
No,
that little roll that you did right there.
What it is.
The thing about dragging your balls, like those kinds of like little like.
Well, here's the reason why I have to be professional all day long, all day. Like I can't just go tell a student go fuck themselves. I can't do that, and I want to sometimes.
We call that business communication.
Right, I teach that class.
Find a way to keep you out of HR.
We do, yeah. But I'm good friends with the HR person, so I'm good there. But it doesn't help, right? But anyway, moving past it, I think a lot of it is I save it all up and I'm like, man, I tell you what, I should have wrote this down, or it just comes out sometimes because it's probably one of the things I think people admire about our current administration is that dude will say anything. It's like, boom, I'm going to say this, whether there's truth behind it, whether there's no truth. I mean, like they're eating the dogs and the cats. Dude, they made a song out of that. They made a meme video. And then I seen people post on X this weekend, they're not eating the dogs. And I'm like, I don't think anybody really thought that, but it was funny, and stuff of that nature. But to be fair, people do eat dogs. I think he picked the wrong demographic because I've been to Korea.
You know what? It wasn't Korea. They were talking about Haitians.
Yeah.
And the one point of contact I have with like Haitian culture was a guy I used to work with at TSA who talked about as a kid, his family ate his dog. And I'm like, oh, why is this the one thing I know about Haitians? And this dude's up here talking about eating dogs. And I've known of one actual case where it's happened. They pet the dog and say goodbye to it and strung it up and just flayed it the fuck open.
Well, I swear to God, man, when I was in Korea, I had some food that was iffy and it tasted like I seen down the street earlier that day.
Tastes like
but anyway, let's get to our topic.
Hey,
go ahead.
When I was in a Chinese restaurant in Nashville, I had some food that was iffy.
Yeah.
I used to have this thing against cats, and I met this cat this past week named Leo, and that cat is the coolest cat I've ever seen in my life. If I could get a Leo, I would buy that Leo. I would have him. I would have him and Chief just watch each other. They would both give each other these persnickety looks back and forth.
And the question is, how would he deal with Winston?
Oh, he would have to. I think Winston would get his ass beat by this cat. I really do. I think it would be initially the cat would go, "What the fuck is that damn thing with all the teeth down there? And why is he so pissed at me?" But I think after Winston got slapped in the face like 1,000 times in 1 second, I think he'd be like, "Fuck it." I don't know.
The cats, they do like the
they do the back and forth, But anyway, what I was going to talk about. So we had a discussion in the VIP earlier today about topics, and Chuck brought up a good topic. I'll go to it real quick. Chuck, just tell us what your topic was, and then I'll feed off of that with what I said right afterwards.
Oh, what's the bad? Basically, what's bad in bourbon today? As far as what's bad with the situation in bourbon today.
Yeah, which I think most of what we could cover on that is probably price point, and then the introduction of these like artisanal bourbons that are not aged long.
Yeah, there's
enough.
A little more to it. Yeah.
And we can definitely go into that, but I would say that would probably be. Well, I think if we did a survey, I think those would be the top things. And by the way, I'm not knocking artisanal bourbons. Some are really good.
They just have to be aged long enough.
It really comes down how long they aged, and then the second thing is whether they aged it long enough or not. Like that, what's that called? That one from Colombia that's not bad. That's only aged 3 years. Daddy Rack. Yeah, which is not bad. And
Daddy Rack's decent. 3 years is okay. I mean, it's not going to be super high end. It can be okay.
But they bring out some different notes though to try to cover that youth taste, right? And I think that's important. But I got talking to this geo engineer, and we were talking about, and we were talking. He was a tequila guy, and I'm obviously not. And first of all, I had to know we got talking about physics too, and I was like, I'm totally love this. I was so turned on, not by him, but like physics, because I love numbers, right? And we were talking about all this stuff. And then we got talking, he's into tequila, and he was telling me about all the tequila places that specifically down in Mexico that he likes and all that. And he goes, "So what's your favorite bourbon?" I'm like, "I don't know, man. There's so many. I guess it would be Bardstown." He goes, "Where's Bardstown?" I was like, "It's in Kentucky." He goes, "You know what? Kentucky probably has better bourbon than Tennessee." Now, I know this might be sacrilegious to some of you fucks out there, but what I'm trying to say is that he brought up a really good argument. It's called the karst system, or karst topography. And what it is that it's called the Pennsylvania Plateau. There's a few states that fall into this. They have the longest cavern systems in the world.
And that's what you mean by karst?
Yep. And that's what that's called. And so what it happens is they have this cavern system that sits at or slightly below groundwater depth. And of course, everything goes through, and they're all made of limestone. So all the water filters through limestone, as we all know that limestone is porous, right? But then it goes into this cavern that is also made of limestone, and it's elongated. Now, Tennessee, Alabama, and I think Georgia have the most caves per capita, but they don't have these elongated ones. And most of their caves are, we'll say, above groundwater. They'll still be underground, some of them, or most of them in cliffs or in the mountains, but they're not under groundwater. And so he was saying his argument for it was the reason why Kentucky bourbon is the best is because of the elongated cavern system that this water is filtered through. It's not the streams and stuff you think. Those are the tributaries that these groundwaters feed into, and that's how they get it. And that's what makes it taste. It simply comes down to the water portion of the distillation process, and not the how they make, what they use. Because you could use the same things here and it would taste vastly different. That's what he was saying.
It's really just because of the source of the water, having gone through all
the
that.
The source of the water.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how much there is on that. I read a lot about it, and I thought it was very fascinating. My nerd side really kicked in. And it's kind of like when we were talking about physics. I was like, we got talking about, in order to break the Earth's gravitational pull, you have to be moving at 7 miles per second, which is roughly 26,736 miles per hour. There's not a vehicle on Earth that can do that, that can travel that speed. And people are like, well, I've seen rockets go up in space. I've seen the space shuttle and this, that, and whatever. I'm like, you have. But what do? Every one of them, they start out straight and they turn sideways, and they use centrifugal force to help pull them into Earth's gravitational pull. The other reason why you can't do that is that's over 68 million gallons of gas. If you want to know how much gas that is, since some of us know
what damn gas.
Since most of us know what the city of Mount Juliet looks like, if you took the city of Mount Juliet and filled it all up with gas up to a foot, that's how much gas you would have to carry in a rocket. You can't do that. Even Elon talks about it. You can't do it.
It's a lot of gas.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to nerd out on you guys. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to be, when he started talking about this is what got me into it. I'm like, I'm going to research the fuck out of this. This guy could be talking crazy. Well, he's not talking crazy. That whole groundwater filtration system, plus with some of the other positive and negative things that are in these caverns, these elongated caverns.
It's the other minerals.
It's the other minerals that go into it and stuff like that. It help filters the water. And then that water, whether it goes into a spring form or goes straight out into the tributaries, that's how they get their water. And that source of water is better than they have in Tennessee. And the only state that I have found that even comes close to that is South Dakota. The problem with South Dakota is what? Their winters are too harsh. So wouldn't have that expand and contract like you have with Kentucky. You have a lot more, so
yeah.
That's why when I've gone to, I think actually at Jeff's invitation, things where we've talked to like distillers and stuff before, and they talk about the processes of, the more temperate, places that have seasons and the way the barrels will expand and contract throughout the year because of heat and humidity and things like that. And that like that kind of working of the barrel adds to the flavor of the whiskey.
No, it totally does.
Overnight. Yeah.
Because the barrels are porous as well.
Yeah.
And so it takes a lot of, even when they char it, they're only charring the inside of it. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean they don't get the lining of it. Like if you were to go watch a barrel sit in a rick house, the ones that are newly filled, look at them. They all looks like they're Harley Davidson made in 1986. They're all leaking some type of.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was, I think, what was it called? AB, no, B.
AMF.
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 Yeah, it was the AMF times, and all of those Harley Davidsons leak hydraulic fluid. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but anyway, we don't have to talk about that, but I thought that was a fascinating thing that makes sense. I would have thought, because as soon as he said, well, we got Kentucky has all these caverns and stuff or caves, and I was like, well, Tennessee has a ton too. I've been spelunking here in Tennessee. I know this, right?
I've been to some caves.
And he was like, but they're not beneath or at groundwater. And I was like, that's fascinating. And then the biggest thing is take Mammoth Cave, for example, which is up in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. That cave is several miles long. All right. You can get in there. Matter of fact, they have their own ecosystem in there where they have some of the boats. They're not doing it right now because the boats are, the water's too high in there. But, and the only reason why I know that because I was talking to my psychiatrist today and she was just telling me she went up there this past weekend. But not that any of you guys need to know that. But but anyway, she was saying that she was talking about the boats were closed off. I said, what's funny about it is that the boats are glass bottom. And the reason why is because all the fish have no pigmentation, nor can they see. They're all blind. And so their debris, their hunting style and all that, the way they
so you can actually watch them and stuff.
Yep. You see all that. And there's a certain type of crawfish that lives in there too. That's different as well. So you got all these different things that go into it that, yes, we may have some of that here in Tennessee, but the problem is we don't have enough of it at or below groundwater depth.
Interesting.
It's just fascinating. Gotcha. So please, somebody else add to this dissertation of
you got us beat on that one, yeah.
And then explain why Memphis, Tennessee is consistently rated the best water in America.
No one's ever said that's puffery.
No, it's absolutely true.
Dude, you got a lot of feedback.
Absolutely true.
You got a lot of feedback.
Oh, it's because it's raining out there now.
Wow, that is.
It was fine before, yeah. That's okay. But interesting, yeah. I had no idea. It's rated the best, like in the country.
In the country, yes.
Water the limestone's helping it. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Limestone. Well, they also have another layer of sand on top of the limestone that does even more filtration.
That helps. Yeah.
Isn't that go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say I think I see where his theory is coming from. I think it's a little too you'd have to get really nitpicky to tell that much of difference. Now I can see mineral content of.
I would argue that right away. I can tell you why I would argue that differently. If you took the top 10 brands of anybody, or take the top 3 brands of each state, you're going to pick the high end ones from Kentucky, and you're going to take the high end ones from Tennessee. Mm-hmm. But if you put those out to the standard market of bourbonniers, across the world, and you excluded Black Label Jack Daniels because that's just a staple in a lot of places where people think they drink bourbon. I'm not saying it's not bourbon. What I'm saying is it's just people that are like, that's my go-to. Yeah. If you took that out and you just put like Jack Daniels best against, Buffalo Trace's best, and so on and so on, what I think you would find is those top 3 from Kentucky are always going to be higher than the top 3 from Tennessee.
I wonder if you did it as a blind. I don't. It
would be a great hypothesis to test.
Yeah, you'd have to do it as a blind because too many people put the label, and so they have this concept. Kentucky's the best. So when they drink a Tennessee and a Kentucky bourbon, and they know which one's which, they'll pick. A lot of them are going to just lean toward it just because of the suggestion. You would have to do a blind to really be able to tell that.
Right.
I think
I think a lot of it will then come down to preference and what your palate is, because you're going to get some flavor differences from the water from place to place because of the different minerals, but it's also going to depend on what else they do to treat water. You could take water in Tennessee.
Well, no, that's not true. In the distillate process at all of the distilleries, the water's taken directly and they filter it through the distillery. It's not filtered through.
But what I'm saying is you can, because that's one of the things that the beer industry learned. Oscar Blue was one of them. When they built their first distillery or brewery in Ashland, and everybody started hating their beer. And they had to figure out, was it them or Sierra Nevada? One of them that opened in Ashland. They were from the out west, and it's like
probably Sierra Nevada.
Beer was completely different. They had to start treating the water to make that water the same as the water in their original brewery, so that they could get the consistent flavor.
See, I wonder though if you took that, if the vast majority of this could go back into our artisanal distilleries. Are they pulling city water or county water or something like that? That's going to be vastly different than pulling straight from the river. I mean, if you ever notice, have you ever been to, whether it's Buffalo Trace, which we all know flooded recently, or if you've been to Bardstown, or if you've been to, what's it called? Freaking one with the damn horses on it, Woodford Reserve, or even Castle and Key. They're all on the same river.
Yeah.
The exact same river.
Are they pulling from river or are they pulling from springs?
Well, I know that let me put it differently. I know that Buffalo Trace, I know that Woodford and Castle and Key for sure are only pulling from the river. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was going to say something about that would be fascinating. I wonder if post-flood and then drought taste would have a different distillate as well. Because one, if you had one that was post-flood,
it would affect the taste.
What's that? Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you would have a river that went outside its banks and pulled up all this seed and stuff from stuff that's seen the sun, and then it filtered back in.
Yeah.
And then it came back in when the waters receded. That's all going to end up as silt down at the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. So you'd have that, which would be vastly different from a spring. Honestly, I think that would be much more interesting as a taste palette than if you had the spring. I think, by the way, is what Jack Daniels is on. I think theirs is on a spring.
Yes, they are definitely on spring. But that's why I would think that a lot of those distilleries are treating their water. They They have to if they're pulling it out of the river. They have to do some treatment because they got to
Well,
make sure
that's not
that
true. It's
they're not
boiled.
picking up.
That's not true. It's boiled.
No,
If
they
you
have,
boil it,
They
it
have
pulls.
to make sure
They
that
got
they're
to do
not getting.
something, man, because
Yeah.
who
If
knows
you boil
what
it, it pulls all the parasites and bacteria out of it. You boil water. That's
No,
facts,
doesn't.
man. Yeah, it does.
Wait, what does? Say it again.
What does?
If you
Boiling
boil
it.
water, it pulls all
Yeah.
the parasites and bacteria out of the water. That's facts.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, I got you.
So they are boiling their water as it goes in. Now, I'm not saying they don't have a filtering system on there to pull out the heavier debris. I'm not saying that, or the heavy metals. I'm not saying any of that. What I am
Right.
saying, hey, there's
It's
a
a
little
little
old-fashioned.
old-fashioned.
Hey, there he is.
Cheers.
We still got to have that guy on here sometime.
I know, right? You got
Yeah,
to
we do.
reach out, man.
Join us, man.
I
What's up
thought
with that?
freaking Gino was going to reach out to him.
Been following his stuff, man. He does some good stuff.
I know.
Also, I think if you did a blind tasting of certain bourbons and stuff, I think the result would vary depending on who you had doing the tasting.
For
If
sure.
you had somebody with
Well,
a
of
more
course. Yeah,
developed
yeah.
palate, so
Oh, yeah.
the average person tasting would not know, how to distinguish flavors or to give them a description. Whereas somebody like Chuck and Rob, they could taste something and kind of describe it to you verbatim, and you can get where they're going with it. So even in the blind, I think it has a lot to do with who's doing the tasting. I've done, barbecue competitions where they just need a certain number of judges. They pull people off the streets who have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They just know they're gonna eat good and eat free.
I think you still want
sign me
to.
up.
I still think though that part of that is you want to have someone like this would be a great hypothesis to test. I really do. I think you could do research behind this and find evidence to support this. I would be curious to find that. I bet the people who know less about bourbon would be more interested in the younger, lower proofs and stuff of that nature. And I think if you had someone who could truly be, they could take their partisanship or biases out, and they could say, I set this up, you have no idea what this is, and you're going to test your palate, and then we're going to test other people's palates and stuff like that. I still think that if you could do that over a large longitudinal, when I say longitude, not over a length, but I'm talking about a large amount of data,
Big sample size,
data sets, you could pull in a lot of different things. And I think you would see like areas of clusters where you'd have clusters of these younger, when I say younger, I'm talking about newer people to the scene. I think you would find that they would be more closer to some of your standards, Do
you think that the general public, going with that hypothesis, they would recognize and be more familiar with those younger vintages because that's what they're used to having?
Yeah, I think that's totally true. I think that is an absolute fact. I think that they would be.
And they're less expensive.
They are less expensive, and a lot of them are well drinks and
They'll
stuff
be,
like that.
what they're familiar with. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then, of course, like a lot of times when people are getting into bourbon, I joined this crew as well when I started into it. Basil Hayden was one of the very first ones that I had. It was my big dollar one, because it was going to be something different. And then it was Blanton's, and then I bought a case of Blanton's, and I bought several cases of Blanton's, and I still have Blanton's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I went through that journey, and then now I'll be honest with you, like I see Blanton's all the time. I seen it yesterday, and I'm like, I'm not buying Blanton's. Like I'm so over the taste.
But it's
Blanton's.
Overpriced anymore.
Yes, it is.
Well, I would say that's true, but at Vintage, which is off in the Lebanon Road, they do sell it at MSRP. So,
which is what?
I believe they sell it $59.
I'm gonna have to go check out Vintage.
Yeah, if they're selling it at $59, they're taking an ass beating on that. Because
so what is MSRP? Is it 69? Because I know it's right there in that.
Yeah, it's right in the 69, $70 area.
So they're probably selling it. What I'm telling you, they're selling it in that window. Is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Down here it's $74.99 for.
Well, I mean, if I go to the hotels right now,
more than that, but
it's $159.
Yeah, right.
But I'm not paying.
In a store I went into a couple of days back, Blanton's was $325.
For regular Blanton's?
For regular Blanton's.
Oh,
Eagle
geez.
Rare is like 160.
Holy shit balls, dude.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
And I still have it sitting here. I got a Magnum of Blanton's for $80.
Yeah, well, that's SRP
Magnum.
for that. Yeah,
Right.
that's SRP for that one.
But can you imagine what a Magnum of Blanton's would go for now if you saw one out there in the
Well,
wild?
the problem is with the Magnum, the 175, is that they're so sparse. You don't find those in distribution much, and when you do, the stores only get maybe at the most 3 per
Is
year.
the Magnum the gold top?
No, it's the 1.75
the big bottle
liter. It's
The
the
big
big bottle.
The big bottle.
You're talking about it. I'm sorry.
Blanton,
Eagle Rare.
yeah.
Just
You're not
regular
talking about-
Eagle
You're not.
Rare.
Yeah, you're not
My
talking
bad.
about. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Blanton's. I thought you said Blanton's.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I
No,
was like, that's
and even Stag's Junior here is
Mhm.
it's over 200,
Yeah.
and they make
Really?
it seem like it's something
Well, like
fancy.
Stag Junior, when I buy it, it's $59 at Vintage. When they
Well,
have it.
and
Stag Junior?
Yeah, Stag Junior. Yeah.
that's why I don't
have
understand.
to go.
That's why I don't
I've never heard that
understand
number.
why is it so much here, and I think they're just playing on people. And it's like Chuck was saying, they're not taking the beating on it down here, but I don't
No.
know if
They
people are
got
buying
that.
it.
Yeah, they got that Miami money.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what they're counting
yeah,
on.
I mean that is
There it
true. I mean, just to give you an idea, right now at the Hard Rock, there's a soccer tournament going on. A couple of the seats. When I mean couple, I mean a certain area. The tickets were like $6,000.
Mm.
Yeah, but you know what? When I was down there, all I saw was G-Wagons. They were like, Dodge Caravans for.
Oh
You
no!
know,
Listen,
There were
G-Wagons,
so many
Rolls
G-Wagons
Royces,
down there. It was incredible.
Ferraris, Rolls Royce, Bugattis. I can take you to 3 places that have Bugattis sitting outside, not even in the
Yeah.
showroom.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
all I saw on the street. With the G-Wagons, all the
So,
Mercedes,
well, I mean,
really nice stuff.
real quick. So we have a lot of that in the area I live in too. G-Wagons and Ferraris and all that nonsense because it just is what it is.
we don't.
But
have
this
that.
kind of takes us back to Chuck's topic. What has brought on some of the negative connotations with bourbon? What I mean by that is whether it's the distillation process, whether it's the puffery that might be associated with it, and you're let down. Like, for example, one of the big things I'm let down about is bum burgers. I love that, and the puffery story is what made me so interested in it. And then I find out, after drinking it for a few years, it's a Michter's product. And I'm not a big fan of Michter's. Like, I don't understand that. How do I like one and not like the other? It's like liking Leonard Skinner and then shunning your eye to freaking the Allman Brothers. How do you do that?
Never shun the Allman Brothers.
No, I'm just saying. I agree with you. I agree with you. But
He's like, listen here, we keep to the code around here.
what I'm saying is there are people like that, right? And so you have to look at that and go, how is that possible, right?
Yeah.
And so I wonder if when you're looking at it, so for me, I'll just be honest with you. So like, I do too. I see it. I
Not really.
I commented that a few minutes
I
ago.
see it in bulk.
I wouldn't
and then-
say in
and then
bulk,
doing-
but it is more available than it has
Much
been in
more
the
available.
past.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I
Price
agree
got
with you.
too expensive.
And I think what's happening is you're
Agreed.
going to start seeing the price point come down on it, even at
I
the
hope
places
so.
that are a little bit excessive. I know when I was at Vintage recently, they had 3 or 4 bottles sitting out on the rack, just like it's ready to go. And when they put it out in the rack, their bourbon crew has already come in and taken what they wanted.
Yeah.
And it's like the Bakers and the Bookers and the secret, or not secret, but the, what is that called? Some little book and all that was there too. And I have 2 of the little books and I'm fine with those. Those are great, I guess, but they're not my favorites. They're not worth the secondary pricing for it. I don't think they're worth the MSRP for them. But I would argue that for a lot of brands. So I guess that's where I was wanting to take that. What is it you guys think? And this can go out to everybody, the people that are watching us, or the people that are in the community, or everybody that's just here. What do you think is causing? If you had to look at one negative thing, it says, man, like the other day, I just told you guys before the show, was that Vintage? They had the white and the black label of Origins. Bardstown, everybody here knows I'm a huge Bardstown fan. I'm an investor in Bardstown. So I'm like a fanboy that's crazy, And so I should have bought them. I'll be honest with you. And I may still buy them before the week's up. But my point is what makes you guys? What are some of the negative connotations or the negative things that you've looked at and said, that's the reason why? That's the reason why I'm not doing this, or that's the thing.
I think one of the major issues that's negative in bourbon right now is a lot of overhype and a lot of people who are not so much consumers as they are collectors. So I think the people who stand outside and camp outside and travel 8 hours into another state, I think they're on the lines of collectors just to say, oh, I have it. They may not necessarily be consuming it, but just to say that they have it. But, I have quite a bit of bourbon. And for me, the only reason I haven't got to it is because of my work schedule.
Yeah.
So if I had more time, I would go through more of it. But I think that's one of the major factors that's given a negative run in bourbon right now.
To me, it's the price point and availability where I'm at. And it's like, I hear about all these things and I know they're not coming here. Yeah. And then when they do, the price point is outrageous. And it's like, yeah, I know it doesn't cost that. It's like everybody, Blanton's for me is $80 when it shows up. Yeah. Okay. And some of the others, I know I have a snowball's chance in hell of ever seeing. It's like you guys were talking about Stag Junior. I have yet to see that on the shelf at any of the stores that I frequent.
I got 6 of them right now upstairs.
I get
that.
But
it's to his point. That's why I never.
But you understand what I'm saying? That is the thing that, that's something I would like to try. But I know that I can't find it here.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that
next time I come across one, I will get you one. I'll pick you up one. I will let the boss, I'll let the boss know here.
And find it, let me know. And
I will send the text right now.
Venmo it right to you, man.
Well, I know you will. Because, I mean, we're all good here. I know that.
I know. It's all good. It's all beautiful. But that's one of the things that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And is being able to find those things. I mean, I love Chuck to death. Chuck will post those pictures, and I am so envious that 3 hours away from where I frequent, he has all that availability on the shelf at MSRP, and it's like, fuck.
Well, that brings up another thing when it comes to bourbon. Are you willing to drive 3 hours?
Hell no.
No. And I agree with you. I'm the same way. I wouldn't do that either. But because I like Buffalo Trace so much, I'm not repulsed to say I will drive up to Buffalo Trace. I mean, it's about a 2 hour drive or a little bit more. I think I would do that. If I could
is the question is, would you do that on some random Tuesday, or would you plan a trip, once or twice a year?
I'll be honest with you. I would totally do it on a random Tuesday. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would do that. But to go to Buffalo Trace, but more so, like I've been thinking about going back to Bardstown like every weekend for like a while now. Like Bardstown, I love.
Wouldn't blame me if I had that opportunity. I would do that.
It's not just because I'm an investor there, but it's also because, well, that is the biggest reason. But it's just they have the secret room. You can go and they have a great bar there, and you can try everything, even stuff they no longer, they have available. You can try everything, and I love that. I love that opportunity. Plus, I love in the secret room they also have stuff that you haven't seen, like Eagle Rare from 1992. Like I didn't graduate high school to 1993, but they have it there, right? Yeah. And I think that's freaking cool that they have all that. And so that makes, for me, versus Buffalo Trace, that makes it worth the venture out, if that makes sense.
Well, and that is part of an experience,
Always have a good co-pilot too. So
yeah, absolutely. But I don't know what would have to be up for grabs for me to drive 3 hours away to consume it or purchase it. I mean, I think the only time I would do something like that if it was a concert or somebody I wanted to see, or I mean, I drove 45 minutes to see Sade because she only goes on tour every 15 years. So it's like, okay, I'll
If
do
you have
that.
a crush on her, I get it. Like Jennifer Connelly. I mean, that's my
Jennifer
if I could
Connelly?
have,
Oh, yes.
yeah. If I could have that as a hall pass, I would take it every time. I'm just telling you. She is. Let me
Yep,
put it different.
I
I don't know that. Honestly, I don't know. If
Hang
that's true.
on a second. Was she?
I don't know if that's
Was she
true.
a childhood crush of yours?
No, she actually didn't become a crush of mine until I watched Beautiful Mind.
Labyrinth?
Beautiful Mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
I crushed
Beautiful
on her
Mind.
since the Labyrinth, like for real.
Labyrinth.
So
Yeah.
that's what most people have is since Labyrinth. So
and everyone else is Requiem for a Dream. I understand.
So for me, it's always been Beautiful Mind. When I looked, by the way, well, I mean, obviously I'm gonna watch Beautiful Mind. That's kind of my jam, mathematics and stuff.
Yep.
And going crazy, like those are two of the things
Also,
are
Top Gun
involved
Maverick.
in my life. But then I seen her in Top Gun Maverick, and I was like, oh my god, she's aged well, right?
Seriously,
so, I mean, she has. And what's
she's
funny
with
is
Blood Diamond as well.
She's what?
In Blood Diamond, she was like a reporter or something.
But here's the thing I find interesting about her is like what I used to love about Jennifer Aniston and stuff like that is she's naturally pretty. I found out recently from listening, and this sounds gay, and I'm okay with that. We are in that month. But I was listening to a podcast of all women talking about people doing. I got bored. I'm sorry. I don't normally do it. But I got listening to this podcast and I was getting ready to change it and they were starting to talk about Jennifer Aniston, but they were talking about all these people getting these fucked up plastic surgery things going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got talking about Jennifer Aniston and how, and I was like, I'm interested now because I agree with you. She went from looking like super hot to like, she looked like a freak star now. Right.
A little too much.
Yeah. A little too much. And then they got talking about Jennifer Connelly, and they said that she has never had any type of thing going on at all. She's never done anything. And I was like, wow. And here's the reason why I find that attractive. A woman that ages naturally, I find to be much more beautiful than a woman that ages by trying to make herself young. Like, we're going to all get old. Like, we could sit here and go, like, my significant other could say, hey, I want you to grow hair. And I'll be like, this is never going to work. Like, it's just not going to happen. Right.
You know what they call that now when people get too much plastic surgery and it's like obvious and you can tell? They call it Mar-a-Lago face.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
But I just learned that not too long ago.
The cool thing about Mar-a-Lago face is they're all women. So that's cool.
Matt Gates has Mar-a-Lago face.
But before we go, Rob, what do you think is going on in bourbon that's negative? I'd love to see what you have to say.
I agree with the overhype of some brands. Yep. I think we are hitting that point where we had such a boom early pandemic. Everybody was pumping juice into barrels. And I think you're going to see price is going to fluctuate down just because of the amount of product that these small, especially your smaller distillers. Everybody was putting product into barrels and thinking that the boom was going to go for a while, and it's just not. So, there's just so many things. We've talked about most of them here tonight. So
to add on to that real quick.
Yeah.
We have the limited editions. Yes. They're becoming a big thing right now. And I think that a lot of these distilleries are just dropping whatever they can, throwing a wild sticker on it. And I'm not talking about the homemade stuff. I mean, I'm talking about, distilleries.
By the way, Good Times has got a new thing out.
I'm sorry?
Fucking with you up, but they do. Good Times has a new thing.
Awesome. Is it like grape cherry licorice flavor?
No, actually it's a raspberry fire something another. I didn't try it.
Oh, no mocha or anything like that? No
latte? I think it's called raspberry fire something or another. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't think something or another is the name of it, but I do think it's raspberry fire something goes here. Another adjective. Or maybe a noun. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the limited editions are becoming a big thing. I mean, and another one is look at, and I don't know how many of you have had Stag Junior recently, but the recent Stag Juniors, say from 23C on suck balls.
See, I disagree with that. I think so. I had a store pick Stag Junior, and I'll be honest.
Now, yeah, but that's a store pick, and that's where I'm going with this. The store picks, store picks are becoming of Stag Junior are becoming where it's at right now.
I agree.
Versus what the distillery's putting out is garbage.
I agree.
Total trash. And look at what's the other one? They have A, B, and C batch each year.
Elijah Craig.
Yes, thank you. Elijah Craig.
I'm glad I got to do something for him.
So they're really not that great anymore either. I've been trying to just cut back on those because I keep saying to myself, okay, let me try this one. It's not that great.
Yeah.
But then you have all these the newer private barrels that stores can get.
Very nice.
And they're blowing the doors off of some of these A, B, and C batches. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking to myself, why bother with those anymore?
I agree.
I just think that we're getting to the point where we're oversaturated. I don't know if price is going to be come down anytime soon on some of this stuff, but I think we're going to see a lot more wild labels, commemorative bottles, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, with product that's maybe 4 or 5 years, and you're just wondering why are you even doing this?
And to go along with that, Chuck, I think Penelope is going right down that avenue with all the different variations that they're doing. It's crazy.
They're throwing too much out there right now.
I know that was everything they used to put out was solid, and it's now
real quick. That one I was telling you about. That one I was talking about, Good Times. I had to look it up. I was just lying altogether. It's the black and blueberry brandy finish. That's
black and blueberry brandy finish.
Oh,
how does anybody see that as being an actual product that's barreled? I mean,
that sounds it's like
it's got to be dosed.
Ooh,
yep.
I mean,
I'm certainly it's dosed. But like what in the maple nut crunch coffee is that? Like,
exactly. Well, I think they have one of those.
That's from an old Dennis Leary bit, like very old at this point, probably like 2000s. You know, it's like going in there, what coffee, what flavor? Like, oh, we got maple nut crunch, and he does this whole tirade about, I want coffee flavored coffee, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think we ought to close the show with there is going to be a new Spaceballs 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
92 years old, Mel Brooks. Space.
I honestly thought he'd been dead for 25 years. I am not going to lie to you.
I really thought he died at least a few years ago.
I am very interested in that just because Mel Brooks.
Yeah, I'm curious if he's going to do. Let's end with this. I think what I hope is that he's going to bring that same fuck you PC stuff that he did in every movie. I mean, come on. Like in Spaceballs, the first one, you see those two black guys in the black stormtrooper outfits, and they're out there with the fucking pick, and they're scraping the
sand.
Combing the desert.
If you don't find that hilarious, you're an ass clown.
How do they know?
On everybody. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
So there's a chance that Blazing Saddles 2 can come out then.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm indifferent about that because Blazing Saddles, like first of all, you find out in the first 10 minutes, Blazing Saddles, when they're like, it's like everybody going, when he's riding in, he's like, he's just riding in, and they're like, that's a new sheriff, and they're all excited to welcome him, and they're like, he's a Nick. It goes to each one of these and it's going Nick, and it goes all the way, and it gets to the last one, and he's the one who's getting ready to read off, and he goes, and he says the whole word, and then he walks up there, and they're like, like that. And he goes up there and goes, excuse me while I whip this out, and then the ladies faint in the background. I mean, come on, if you don't find that funny, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem.
I don't. Where are the white women at?
Yes, dude, and that is hilarious because that's him and Gene Wilder, and he's holding him, and he takes off his hood. He goes, "Where's all the white women at?"
Yeah,
it's like
I don't know
when they get caught going through the toll gate or whatever it is. Yeah. Oh, wait a second, it'll wipe off. Just wait a second. See, look.
Well, it's just like when you go and you look at like all the great movies that we grew up with, and D-Generation X. When you look at the movies, I mean, like, for example, look, like my kids, they love the 80s movies that we watch, which are all inappropriate today. Like, look at all the times they say gay. You know, like you have part like that meme that's always being shared with the Chinese guy that's who was a dentist or some type of doctor, and he was in
Ken
Hangover.
Yes.
Yeah,
the guy that was in
the bachelor party.
all of the bachelor parties, and
Yes.
and he's like, and he's sitting in the back of the room in that one. He's going fag, or he says gay. That's what he says. Gay, like that.
You know about the Hangover, right?
What?
Yes.
Hangover. That's what
Hangover.
Hangover.
I know what you meant.
But
You're
like,
right. I'm sorry.
and what's his face hooks up with and all of this right here is when you look at all those movies, this is stuff you can't do today because our society has gotten so freaking beta.
Soft.
Like, it's so beta.
Also, I think there's a Naked Gun 2 coming out too.
Well, you can't do that with you can't do that with Lindsay or Leslie.
No, it's
he's truly been dead for like 25 years.
The guy from Taken is gonna be doing it.
Liam Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh, he sucks.
Okay.
So
he sucks only because of his political views, but he's actually a good.
Well, now I'm more curious.
now,
it's just because he's so like he does all these Taken movies and he does all these movies where like him and Ice Cube, who, by the way, one of my favorite people, Ice Cube. Those two people are so. No, I'm sorry, wrong. Not Ice Cube. It's the one that that was in NCIS. It wasn't Ice Cube. It was the other one, the big
Ice
black
T?
guy. Nope.
Ice.
Not Ice anything.
LL Cool J.
Thank you, LL Cool J. They are so
cool, but not Ice.
they're so freaking anti-gun, and I'm like, every show that you guys have ever played in have guns in. Like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But
it's all beautiful.
What I would say is, if we could go back to come on, Monty Python.
Man.
Like, if you watch any of that, that's also so offensive. All right,
you to everybody. Benny Hill.
I love it.
Yeah,
Benny Hill. I used to watch Benny Hill because it didn't come on until 11 o'clock at night.
I used to watch Benny Hill with my dad.
Yeah,
well, I did too until my dad was like, "It's well past my bedtime, son. I can't stay."
Well,
don't tell your mom you're watching this. I'm like, I'm not watching it, Dad.
Same here.
And then as soon as he left out of the room, I watched porn I watched porn on the satellite, and I was like this.
The squiggly channel, the spice channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I see a tit.
I might see vagina.
Forget about movies. You couldn't even watch Archie Bunker nowadays.
Dude, for real.
Dude.
Like, the Jeffersons, Jeffersons and Good Times were two of my dad's favorite shows. All right.
Oh yeah, mine too.
And James in Florida, and then you had Wanda, and then you had the other girl. What's her? The younger one that not Wanda was the old lady that was grouchy all the time. That looked like she was dead 10 years before she actually died. I forgot her name, but the Geneva, was that her name? The other girl. But anyway, and then of course Janet Jackson was on there. That show, I will be honest with you, the only part of that show I didn't like was JJ.
JJ
I thought JJ, I thought he was too animated playing this role. Whereas growing up in Southern California, seeing projects like they had in Chicago, that's not how the projects look in California. They look
listen, growing up, I knew no one who talked like JJ.
I knew no one who talked like JJ, and I went and played Bones every weekend with my boys. And you know what I'm talking about when I say Bones.
Yes,
absolutely.
So it's just ridiculous. I wish we'd get back to like when I hear like Make America Great or whatever, I wish we'd get back to that. That was fun. Yeah. That was a good time when we could just make fun of each other. We could say retard and nobody be like, well, that's offensive. I'm like, to whom? Like, tell me one person is bothered by that. Or by the way, like I said this the other day to my mom and my son, we were sitting there talking for Father's Day dinner, and Preston was like, he's like, man, the world is so much better. I'm like, and we're just sitting there chatting, and my mom was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I can say fag now. And she's like, well, that's offensive. Well, you wouldn't say it to like a gay person. He goes, and both of us said at the same time, like, no, you wouldn't say it to a gay person. That would be offensive. You don't say fag to a gay person. That's just stupid. But to a person that's acting that way, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
But again, it's the world being oversensitive. What in the UK you can't say spaz. Apparently,
You can say
spaz.
You can't pray in your head in the UK.
So it's
You got to get
one
a
of those
TV
things.
license to have a damn TV in your home in the UK.
I don't know. It's crazy because listen, me and my boy Josh is as country as a white boy as you can get, and me and him give each other shit so much. A couple of weeks back, I say, hey, listen, I'm gonna come over there and start up the smoker probably around 11, 12 o'clock. This is the text message. And when I say this, please nobody get offended because I thought it was funny.
If nobody gets offended by the shit I say, I don't think they're
So
offended by you.
Josh sends me a text back. He goes, no problem. I have all the crosses extinguished by then.
Oh man.
Damn. I wouldn't have went there.
Well, listen,
that's definitely supportive.
So something you guys will find funny. So I had one of my students reach out to me, a previous student, because I don't allow people to be my students if we're they can't be my friends on any social media sites if they're still a student. They have to graduate. So one of my students just reached out to me. Swear to God, this is exactly what the student said. Apparently, the student's watching the podcast.
Oh boy!
Said, hope you never wanted to tell me to go fuck myself.
No, but listen,
you know, that was the beautiful thing about our generation. Not really our generation. You guys are a generation after me. But back then,
you're a boomer.
I'm a boomer.
Yeah.
And we poked fun at it. It didn't matter what the fuck you were, what color you were, what you believed in, what you did. If you presented a target, we were gonna take that shot.
I mean, dude, like people talk about bullying, and I was like, "Where were you guys back in 1986?"
It was like that's what it was.
Like we just fucked with each other. And it's like people like in the military. What I love about the military, and that's the reason why I think the military is so happy right now, and I think the reason why their recruiting rates are so up, their recruiting numbers, is because we've gotten rid of this dumb fuckery, and we're going back to what it was, and that was 90% fucking with each other and 10% war.
Yeah.
You know, and that was so much fun. Like I had one of my, so David, you know, one of my gay friends that's in the military. And I'm not going to say his name here. I mean, he's outed himself. And what's funny is I never knew he was gay until he was like, yeah, I suck penis. And I'm like, come on, man, you and your jokes. And he's like, no, really. I'm like, okay. No. I'm like, I didn't expect it, but I feel uncomfortable changing in front of you earlier. He was like, because he would say, he always, still to this day, he's like, I think you look pretty good naked in my and he talks just like this too. He's from Tennessee. He's like, and I'm like, hi. As a matter of fact, he just sent me a text the other day. He's like, you gonna come see me before I leave out with one of the teams? And he's like, my job is so great. You hook me up good with the teams and stuff. And he's like, my job, I work 2, maybe 4 hours a day, and we're getting ready for deployment, and I need you to you can come out and see me for 2 weeks before I leave in San Diego. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna come for 2 weeks. I'm like, what am I gonna do for 2 weeks with you? I'm like, am I gonna be able to get through screening, you know, because I may have a butt plug or something at that point. I don't know, you know. Yeah, I don't think it'd be like that. It'd be like,
just make sure it's a Blanton's butt plug.
That's it.
There it is. Yep.
Anyway, hey guys, it's been
exactly.
real. David, it's been fun. It's been real. I need to push buttons.
Yeah.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bells, turn on the notifications, do all the things. If you want to be part of the VIP chat where all this kind of dumb fuckery goes on for all the time, please do that.
This is full on after show, by the way. We're at a minute and
we're gonna talk for a little bit, I'm sure, in the after show about some random nonsense. And if you were here and you were part of the VIP, you could like go pop on right now and be like, hey, I want to be part of the VIP and hear this.
You just click the link because it's already in there.
Like Steven was here, he was here for the pre-show, and all of a sudden he's like,
he was driving and that, and
he was like, I'm not drinking. I'm driving.
Oh, bullshit.
So he got off the phone so he could fix that, so he can drink and drive.
There it is.
I honestly think that is what he did. He probably had a brown paper sack between his legs. But anyway, guys, everybody be real, be fun, love each other, be good to yourself. Eat food, eat barbecue, and just remember, this whole podcast was started because there was no kings. Peace out. Have fun.
Later.
Cheers.
Love you all.
Out.